Hey everybody, Martyn at Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying this rubber lead gotcha variation. It's a good bonefish fly, but it also, I mean, it's a sort of you can see it as a sort of multi-purpose flats fly. It just looks like a wee shrimpy thing on the bottom, but I mean primarily for bonefish. As always, I'm going to put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anyone that wants to support the channel. Get access to the members only content, the monthly fly tying sessions that are online, and be entered into the giveaways. You can also subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified of the new videos. That's all appreciated. Now I've got my hook and my vise. This is a size 6 Gamkatsu SL11 3H. Quite like this hook for this fly because it's a bit longer in the shank, and it's very strong. It's a good quality hook, and I've run on some fluorescent pink 140 denier Danvilles. I'm just going to figure eight on some Beadchain eyes. The one that I had in the vise was dumbbells, but I'm tying these up in various weights. Let's get the eyes on. Make sure that straight, and then I'm going to get some crystal flash. So this is obviously no a standard gotcha with the mylar braid tail and the body braid, the chunky body braid for the body. It's a bit skinnier, but it's just, I like the effect that we get with this, and I'll explain that as we go. So I'm just catching in, I've got 5 strands, pearl crystal flash. I'm tying them the length of the body behind the eyes. I'm coming to the back, and I'm going to come slightly round the bend. I'm going to let my thread hang halfway between the barb and the bend of the hook. I'm going to trim these, trim them the same length. I'm not that fussed about separating them out, about the length of the shank. That's fine. Now I'm using micro flatbraid for the body, rather than the chunky stuff. I'm going to, same thing, I'm just going to catch it right in behind the Beadchain in this case, and then I'm going to run back to my tail, and you want to keep everything nice and tidy. A nice smooth underbody. I'm going to put a wee bit of taper in. So I've come back, I'll just do that again, I've come back to sort of this point here, sort of between the point and the barb, and then I'm going to skip my thread forward in a big open turn, about the same distance forward, and again come up and touch and turns, just to put a wee bit of taper, which I can then accentuate with the body braid. So I'm just going to take this forward and touch and turns, right, I'm not overlapping, and this is why I use this stuff, because it lets, when you've only got one layer, it lets the colour shine through much more, so it actually will allow me to have like a hot spot. I'm just going back. So at that same point, like between the point and the barb of the hook, and I'll kind of stretch it forward, and this will accentuate with the wee tapered body, and I'm going to figure of 8 through the bead chain. And remember to check this side, because that's got to be the, I mean, it will know, but none of that's really going to be seen, but if there was a bit that a fish would see, it would be on here, but I mean, doesn't matter really. And then I'm just going to whip finish this. And I'm going to varnish it. And you'll see, at the moment, you can barely see that pink, but when you put the varnish on, and it stays like this, right, that hot pink gives you a wee sort of hot spot at the back there, fading into the body, which I really like the look of that. I think it's quite good representation of what like small, like spawning shrimp or sand shrimp actually look like. And you don't need to, I mean, you can put quite a lot of varnish on. If you want, you can use UV resin that will give you a similar effect. But what I like to do is basically tie the fly to this stage. I'll just turn that a couple of times and just set them to dry. And I'll just grab one that's ready. Dumbbell eye on this. I'll start my thread again. I'm using a santan craft fur. Get yourself a decent bunch. And this, the size 6 SL11, it's about the same as a 4, 3407 in overall length. Or 811S if you're one of the people that use the rubbish TMCO hooks, if you're looking for a comparison. I've just put all the fluff, the under fur from the craft fur, and then I'm just going to take out the very long fibres and lay them back in to give me a bit more body in the middle and get a nice, still want a nice taper. Right, the calf fur individual hairs are no tapered, so you need to have the different lengths to get your taper in your wing. Length, want it longer than the tail. Just going to catch that in, 2 or 3, maybe 4 wraps. Check the length, that's fine. Trim away the waist. Come to the front, tie back into these cut ends, and come right back towards the eyes. Just make sure that wing's sitting perfectly on top. And you can, if you've got any wee bits, you can tidy them up. Just check all the way around. Now I like to put some barring on this fly. If you were going to be fishing somewhere like the Bahamas and it was going to be on like just clean sand flats, you maybe not do this. But coral flats and that, this can be a nice addition. Four. like to sort of just pick a number for the patterns, right? So I've got 4 for this, and they're all going to have 4 bands. It doesn't really make any difference to the fish, but it's nice. I like it if they're sort of consistent. I'm just going to take my toothbrush and brush that back. It's got a nice shrimpy effect. And then I'm just going to get some of these. It's the nymph size EP crustaceous legs. I'm going to take a single leg, cut it in half. Scoot up that end. Now, you often see videos, right, and it's always people who own fly shops, so I'll leave that there. You can make of that what you will. But they'll cut off 2 legs, and then they'll tie it in and cut half the stuff away, right? The length of a leg tied on top, if you go too long, it's just going to foul every time. So, your flies, you're always going to be fixing it. Your fly's not going to be fishing. Legs at the front are great because they stand up, but you only want them just coming past the back of the hook, right? See the length of that? And that's, on this size of fly, that's just basically perfect with a single leg split in 2. So I'll tie 2 on that side, fold it over, keep a bit of tension, tie that off. I can just check that they're all about the same length. I'm a wee bit long on one side, so I'll just level them up. And that there, the legs are going to move when the fly's still, right, when you're not moving it. On the pause between the strips, the silicone legs float and they're going to be wafting about. There's got to be a lot of movement in the fly even at rest, which I think is a very, very desirable factor. Weedguard. I'm just going to use a single strand of 20 pound hard nylon. Don't use your good scissors for cutting this. And I'm just going to put a wee flat spot, about 3mm long, bend it, and using the natural curve of the monofilament, the memory of it coming off of the spool, so it stands up nice. Oops. Just catch that in with that wee flat spot. Tie back, and then I like to just lift it and get some wraps tight, hard in against the back of it, just to help stand it up. And you can whip finish. Two, always 2. My wee cutters, cut it just longer than the hook point, just past the hook point, and then a bit more head cement, nail polish in this case. Your hard as nails is great stuff. And again, don't be shy, this will soak in, give you a nice durable finish. There you have it. That's a sort of rubber leg gotcha variation. I mean, deadly, absolutely deadly. So I hope that was useful, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up below and subscribe to the channel. Tight lines guys, bye.